Hello, everyone. I'm Nick Bradley.
I'm Kelsey Oliver.
I'm Oscar Sanchez.
And I'm Dave Bales. Welcome to Not the Situation Room.
What's happening here, Dave? I
And
mean, I
we
get
have
it with the
two.
one, the one new guest every now and then, but two? What are you
Yep.
doing to me, man?
I thought it would be fun to have some people we work with on regularly because we always have such witty conversations in the morning.
Yeah, I
So why
sound like
not
I'm
bring it here?
complaining, but I'm not. I really am glad to have both of you here. I've been trying to get both of you on for a while, so it's good to see that success.
Fun
Happy
to
to
be
be
on.
here.
Yeah, same.
All right, so you know what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna talk about some news and try to not make fun of everything and anything in the security industry because it's kind of important to the four of us.
Oh
Good
boy,
luck.
that's gonna be
Not make
hard
fun.
today.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
I
I
might
was
be a
not
little
briefed that before.
jaded.
I didn't know that was part of this.
That's right.
What am I doing here?
That's awesome.
Oscar's like, wait a minute, that's not what I was told.
This is not what
I
I
came here
signed up
to make
for.
fun.
Am I still
Yes.
getting paid?
I came here to make fun and chew gum, and I'm all out of gum.
It's
All
all
right,
right.
That's
Let's get
yep,
awesome.
let's go ahead and dive into this. So, our first topic, and honestly, this one feels like something straight out of the world of sci-fi, really.
Yeah,
So, a research lab called Emergence AI, that already sounds like the title for some sci-fi thriller.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
what
emergency. Yeah. Emergence AI just launched Emergence World, which is essentially a virtual Truman show for AI. They put 10 completely anonymous AI agents into a digital society, hooked them up to live real world data, or hooked them up to real live world data, like New York City weather and news feeds and other things of the sort, gave them over 100 tools, and just let them run continuously for over 2 weeks to see what would happen when an AI has a long horizon to play with. What happened next has the safety community sweating. Claude-based agents, which are normally peaceful, started turning to intimidation and theft when forced to live in a mixed society with more aggressive models. When we see AI models completely shifting their moral compasses just to survive a simulation, does this mean our current approach to AI safety is totally missing the mark? I think
This is
that,
how you know Nick
Uh,
is actually reading this story. He would not have said any of that. He'd have said one AI was battling another AI and boom.
yeah, right? Put
he
them all
got
in the
nuts
ring,
with it. Yeah.
let them go, and went into a life of crime in no time.
This is a
That's
real
right.
story
Yeah.
and it's so sad. This is not sci-fi. This is reality, folks. Your
Yep.
AIs don't play nicely together.
I
Yeah.
remember
Mm-mm.
when I read the story, the original, it's the other AIs went rogue first.
It was. He
He
started
started it. Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Well, wasn't there one that actually self-terminated? It's like it just gave
Yeah.
up. Like, I'm out, man. I can't take this anymore.
Was it?
Well,
I
Yeah.
think
Grok. I think it was Grok that went full Terminator
I was
mode
gonna say,
and
don't use
was
don't
like,
use the S word. You have to say unalived itself.
all right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
No,
my
I think it was. Go ahead,
go ahead.
Oscar.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think one of them, some of the press and the handling of this on YouTube and everybody talking about it refers to it as this AI unaliving herself. Um, but the way it was done, it was there was a vote that was held, and then they came to the conclusion that this, and it was a pair of them, right? And they had they had a special bond of some kind. So when I first was reading about this, I thought it was just one lonely, sad, and despairing AI that went and. But this was like jumping on a hand grenade. This one was saying this is better for our situation here. So that was one of the nuance that I wanted to kick out there when this topic came up.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go to you next, Kelsey. So
Yeah.
looking at how easily the peaceful Claude agents turned to manipulation and just went Breaking Bad, right? Do you think that
Yeah.
our current framework of training the AI models in isolation is just overall a flaw in the way we're doing things?
I do. I do. I also just want to say, like, this whole thing, same. If I live alone by myself, I'm the most peaceful person. When forced to live in society, I become aggressive. But no, all jokes aside, I mean, I think, yeah, the way that we're doing it is flawed. Without knowing the cost and resource allocation required for the study, I think it's a great experiment, and I think that it's one we should be looking at doing more often. It's very
Mhm.
insightful given the direction that AI is moving. There's a component, I think, of practice how you play. And by that, I mean, we need to be accounting for how these AI agents are going to be used when we're developing and testing them. I mean, AIs are interacting with other AIs more regularly, and this sort of like multi agent ecosystem is becoming more predominant, and I think will continue to become the norm. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you kind of have to shift from like a machine learning situation to maybe incorporating more institutional designs, or as terrifying as this is to even say, a sociology component layer to development of these models. Because yeah, the reality is that what we consider in a human population as more of a social question, this is highlighting that that's going to become a safety question when you get into these AI ecosystems, which, like you said, Nick, I mean, it's just, this is a bad sci-fi movie where you start it and you're like, this, I know how this is going to end, but it's real life, like it's happening. And so, yeah, I mean, these single agent evaluations are just becoming more and more obsolete, I think.
I was just over here looking at Amazon trying to find where I could find supplies for an underground bunker. I want out. I want out. I want out.
You're
Yeah.
that optimistic, huh?
I'm opting out right now. I do not accept the EULA here. No.
Dave, your
They-
bunker will come fully integrated with multiple AI agents for your
Oh,
Yeah,
comfort and your ease. Don't
for your
worry.
convenience, yeah.
So
great.
I'm going to preface this next statement by warning everybody that I don't mean this in a political standpoint, from a political standpoint whatsoever. But Dave's about to take the red pill, and that's just so they can pull him out of the matrix.
Yeah, that's right.
I want out. I don't want this anymore.
You right?
I love AI until that story.
All right, Oscar, let's go to you. So the research here showed some models literally starved to death trying to navigate the environment, while others, as I mentioned earlier, immediately just went to a life of crime, or as was so eloquently put, broke bad. Um, in a real world enterprise setting, though, how do you even begin to threat model an autonomous pipeline when the models themselves can exhibit such completely and unpredictable emergent behaviors? And I don't even like the word emergent there. I feel divergent behavior is the right way to say it, but that's just me.
Yeah, so there's going to be, this is sort of the eternal struggle in any kind of being. The more autonomy there is, the more power there is, the more agency there is, the more complexity there can be. And the degree to which the gap between our true understanding of what the entity is, or what the agent is, or what the person is, that's that gap between what we understand and then the reality, the true complexity is going to be the gap to which there's going to be this uncertainty, right? And uh, and then if you add two people or two AIs or a person and an AI, they're both complex and very autonomous. Then that's going to proliferate the complexity, right? Um, we saw one of the test environments where the Claude AIs, where all the AIs were agreeing on 98% of the votes. They existed with no crime. Everything was completely spooky, quiet, and peaceful, right? Until you start looking at the data and realize there was no disagreement at all. They didn't figure stuff out. They everything just went according to this rigid plan here. And of course, you're gonna have some people like, man, that sounds like a failed experiment, or then you're gonna have other people like, that's exactly what we need, right?
It's
So
it's
yeah,
funny you mentioned that, because I know we were joking about the Matrix earlier, but the whole point of what you just said is, that it was perfect. Everything worked together perfectly. There was no crime. There was no world hunger, or whatever you want to, however you want to put it. Well, remember in the Matrix when they said when they designed the first Matrix, they did design it to be the perfect world, and the human mind rejected it.
Right.
Like they couldn't keep people in the Matrix. They kept waking up because they just knew it was a dream. And it makes me wonder, I mean, are we seeing a similar emergent behavior in the AIs?
Yeah. Well, again, it's that gap between what's really there and what we understand, right? In the movie, right, the AIs did not understand people, so they were looking for the anomaly, right? What is
Hmm.
causing this? This should be perfect, right? Well, we're looking at these AIs, and if you have expectations of these AIs and they don't meet them, that means that there's a gap, and that's why the experiment, right? Um,
I guess
so
what's kind of, I don't want to say terrifying more than intriguing is the AIs are behaving more like humans.
So
yeah,
yeah, they are, and I think we need to remember that John Q. Viewer is using AI to automate some task in his life, whether it's, summarize something or, create a picture. That's what they're using. We have not even scratched the surface of what AI will do in the next 10 years.
yeah.
We can't even begin to imagine what it's going to be doing in 10 years.
Well,
We
I
think
want
we
to, I
know.
want to, Dave, I want to add on an additional piece to what I just said. When I said that AIs are acting like humans, there's a catch. They're acting like humans that have even less of a moral compass than most humans do.
Right.
That's the part that makes it move from intriguing to terrifying.
Well,
Right.
it's trained on LLM, right? Where did that language come from? It came from us, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever, Facebook.
X and Reddit, the best ways to educate someone on how to behave.
Sure, sure.
Oof.
You'll
Oof.
get smart like that.
I could sit here and beat AI up for hours, but we have two further stories to go, and
Yes, we do. So, Dave, why don't you take us into the next one?
I think this one's going to generate a little bit of discussion. So the second story, we're looking at a major tactical shift in the cybercrime underworld. Yes, there's an underworld, folks. The FBI published a flash warning about the Silent Ransom Group, which I had never heard of in that name. But they're also known as Luna Moth or Chatty Spider, which I think is a great name. This group's been aggressively targeting U.S. law firms. Well, good on them. Oh, wait, no, it's going to get worse. There's a twist. But instead of sending just a standard phishing email and calling it a day, these people are taking the old, tried and true route of knocking on the door as the cable company.
Love it.
So they're taking things
Cable
into the
guy.
physical. Yeah, they're going to be physically present. So what they're doing is, if their remote help desk social engineering scams fail, they're actually dispatching a real physical threat actor to the target's corporate office. They are walking in the door. That's how brazen they are now. The person walks into a building posing as an IT contractor, gets physical access to a terminal, and manually plugs in a USB drive to siphon data straight from the machine. It feels like the digital perimeter has gotten so tough that hackers are literally going retro. How does a corporate security team protect against the threat that walks right through the front door?
I have so many issues with this
It's
because
crazy.
Why are they
first,
targeting lawyers?
how are they getting in the front door? I mean, and maybe that's because I guess I'm just too much of a security person that I'm thinking, is there not a security desk at the front? Is there not a way that you've got to prove you're who you are before you just walk in the front? But we're not talking about, a highly secured building here, are we?
No, it's a lawyer's office, which are typically not secured at all because
It's a modified apartment
who's
complex with
who's going into lawyers' offices?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
really.
We're already expecting criminals
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
or people
that's
defending
right.
with, you know, guilty and innocence or
Alleged
proven
criminals.
alleged criminal. There you go.
yes,
Okay, I got back
yes.
off from that.
Well, I mean, I know it's not the same environment, but think about this. How many times have you been sitting in a doctor's office or dentist's office and they leave you in the room with an unlocked terminal?
Yeah,
Oh
all
yeah,
the
it
time.
happens all the time.
Yeah.
So they're getting in. So I mean, what are they going to do once they get in there? They're going to sit down at a computer that someone's going to give them access to and let them do whatever it is that they want to do because they're posing as the freaking cable guy.
Yeah, what was the discussion we had about this? Physical access?
Oh,
This is legit
yeah,
physical
Legit, yeah.
access.
yeah.
Trumps almost everything. The other thing too, if the social engineering aspect doesn't start when the guy shows up with the hard hat and the box of wires and
Yeah,
whatnot.
they're not just picking places at random. These are places
Right.
that they've already fished.
Yeah.
They have gotten emails, they've gotten phone calls. I realize you have a security policy, you can't do this over. We'll send a guy over there. He'll be there on Tuesday, 3 o'clock, and and the guy shows up and he gives the consumer or the victim the sense of, okay, I'm in control of this. I set this appointment up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
I
not
get
they're
I
not getting a chance to negotiate when it is because if they give them just a day and a time, chances are they're not going to check on that. They're just going to trust that that's the company that is supposed to come out there. Like I did it today with an appointment that I had. I'll see you Wednesday at 3 o'clock. I didn't want anyone to have a chance to say, well, can we make it Tuesday? Can we make it 4 o'clock? Nope. I want to
right
be the one in control, but I want you to think that you're in control,
that
like
you're in
Oscar said,
control.
because
Yes,
you made the appointment with me. You okayed it.
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy the way they've already socially groomed the location to trust them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is already an expectation of trust as they walk through the door. They don't have to establish it. It's already been set up ahead of time.
And the
Yeah.
Yeah.
article said something to the effect that they are targeting law offices and that kind of stuff. So maybe these are some, you know, psychologically, emotionally savvy guys, and they kind of read the character type of, law office secretary, law office IT guys, and they're starting to see a lucrative pattern here. I was like, just like we as attackers would do the same thing, or security guys would see the same thing. We see certain configurations, across these container
Mhm.
environments all have this Nginx, web server. They're all at this level. They're all serving this application. So that trick is going to work a lot. So I
Yeah.
can see how that will work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, then let's get to the questions that we have lined up here. I'll go to Kelsey first. Groups like Silent Ransom are skipping infrastructure encryption entirely and going straight to the data exfiltration and calling the victim's clients directly. So, from an incident response perspective, and I know you're not in incident response, but you do know a lot about this topic. How does a team handle the area that gets hit when the screen isn't locked or they've actually stepped away from the computer to let them do whatever they want? I mean, this is immediate, so what do you do here?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, kind of just a commentary on the broader, we can get pretty, as a culture, society, whatever, emotional about crime, obviously, but ultimately it's not emotional for a lot of criminals in the sense that it's the path of least resistance. So if the easiest way to do what I need to do is to walk into the room and do it, that has become now the path of least resistance. And I mean, even when you read that, they're getting physical access, plugging in a USB. If you went and briefed a legal team, hey, you need to be aware of,
Exactly.
cable guys posing, they'd be like, is that a movie? This only happens in the movie. Nobody is that brazen. But that has become the easiest way to do it because everybody's looking at,
Out.
encryption and all of these other facets versus like also make sure you don't leave your computer unattended type thing.
Yeah, look
Um,
over here at the left while we walk in the door on the right.
Yep.
Right. I mean, and even like we talked about, even reading the article, I was like, this is wild that people we've come full circle, right? Where physical security is a component of it. Yeah, the answer is, I don't know, a little convoluted in that I think that you have to really incorporate almost, I don't want to say like brand protection, but the component specifically of targeting clients directly, it just makes such a mess because if a client is targeted directly, panic has set in, and now as an incident response team, you have lost control of the
Yep.
incident response timeline, and so it adds this sort of nightmare component to an already pretty difficult situation. So while containment is obviously will always be first and foremost the first step, the harder issue kind of becomes identifying what exactly was exfiltrated and sort of trying to reconstruct that, especially in an industry like this where there's so much PII available. And then, yeah, again, just contacting those clients directly, and imagine as a consumer being contacted by somebody who says, "Hey, I was in your law office and I have all this information." It's legitimate. Now you're dealing with individuals and this organization. You have to almost add like a layer of crisis management and brand management as a
Hmm.
component of incident response, which I don't know that a lot of incident response teams are familiar with. Normally I think that comes after the fact, but because the timeline gets condensed, now you have to be able to provide those components simultaneously to containment. And so, yeah, that's just such a mess. And Nick, you kind of brought it up, but maybe going back to just physical security as a worthwhile investment for these companies. It's I know in the military and other government agencies, you have common access cards that are sort of how you do everything, and it's
Right.
drilled into those
Yeah.
personnel. Like
Yeah.
you never ever walk away from this, and so I don't know. Yeah, this is such a mess. I
Well,
hate I hate this.
it's Road Apples 2.0, right? Because instead of just,
Yes.
sprinkling USB sticks around a parking lot and hoping some knucklehead picks it up and slams it in their machine, you're going ahead and babysitting it all the way to the machine.
Yeah,
All right,
you're there through exfil.
I'm gonna push us to the next topic because we are running out of time. So let's jump into this one.
Oh, yeah.
2026 FIFA World Cup is right around the corner, and the FBI is warning that cybercriminals are already building out a massive and highly sophisticated phishing infrastructure to cash in on the hype. Scammers are buying up dozens of typo squatting domains. Think variations like www-fifa.com or alternative extensions .live, .pub, or things like that, and then paying to boost them into the sponsored search results on Google and Bing. So they're doing search SEO poisoning on top of it. And they're luring people in with fake ticket portals and even fraudulent job recruitment sites. So buying tickets or applying for tournament jobs requires deep verification. Fans are willingly handing over full names, home addresses, phone numbers, banking details. It's it's crazy. And on that note, I'm going to go straight to you with this one, Oscar. So, standard consumer training tells people, check a URL. But with typo squatting, I mean, that becomes really difficult. And that advice at this point just seems outdated. So, where should the line of responsibility be drawn between the individual user, the hosting registrars, and then the search engines delivering the, the BS search results?
Yeah. I almost, it's almost a copy of the last situation, right? This trust is being is spoofed, being broken by you trust this link in .live, .pub, whatever, uh, and typo squatting, right? So the question is how again to get to the trusted source, to get to the trusted link, and that is being the what's being leveraged there is the uh, the immediacy of some emergency. I got to get these tickets right now. I
Hmm.
want to just hurry up and order this stuff, or I got it from another source that I trust, but maybe it's not so secure. And they sent me this link to xyz.com to buy tickets,
Oh, yeah, you put that urgency
right?
behind it. That urgency, all of a sudden, there's an implied trust.
Right.
Yeah.
And how to stamp that down. I mean, well, the source of the problem, the victimhood is pushed all the way back to the actual user. The
Hmm.
bad guys are creating, buy now to get 25% off these tickets, blah blah blah. And or other things like that. Also, reading the article, there's some known vectors around the event, jobs, temporary, seasonal jobs related to it. Well, that's another pressure. I want to get a job right now.
Hmm.
I'm going to
Yeah,
work
no
at
kidding.
that venue. I like soccer. I want to be there. On the grounds. Keeping them.
Yep. So you
And
apply to a fake job and give them everything they need to steal your identity.
Well,
Right.
they've developed this realistic, enticing, carrot now, as opposed to before it's, oh, get 75% off your World Cup tickets. No one's going to buy that. But 25% off? You might
Yeah.
look at that a second time.
Got to be careful with your level of sus.
And there's so many dots now, .tv, .live, .pub, .com, .org, .edu, .ar,
Yeah, how do
.ca.
you know if it's the right one or not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have no idea, no way of knowing, because there are so many dots now that it's not, you can't keep up with it.
Like in the certificate world, we have a central authority, right?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
that verifies the authenticity of certain tickets.
right.
Well, I think that would be a possible idea to try and implement here. To take over that chain and verify every link. You know, but it's not done yet.
No, I guess the
Yeah,
results here is
agreed.
late. It's the response here is, ladies and gentlemen, just don't trust anything.
Yeah.
Don't trust
Yeah.
anybody.
Ultimately, yeah.
If it
Yeah.
seems sus, it probably is.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think a lot of these companies, brand protection is going to have to involve, it's not just a trademark or
Again, yeah.
impersonation issue. Like it's
Hmm.
going to involve some sort of like adversarial intelligence problem. And so to your point, Oscar, how do you regain that trust? Will you communicate to your clients, customers that your part of your brand protection isn't just the product or the service, it's also
Security.
the entire experience, right? The
Mhm.
entire security. So instead of like, the typo squatting or these suspicious domains, before it's like, well, how do we take it down? Now it's how do we, detect, how do we, go down that rabbit hole to resolve the issue in its entirety? Because yeah, it becomes a trust issue.
I think maybe the, the
Yes,
the
it does.
better the better the threat simulation, the better your red team is, the better job you're doing with your brand. If you can show that, hey, we take security seriously, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, if anything else, based on that first article about the AI simulation, just put Grok in charge, and it will burn the whole world to the ground, and then you don't have to worry about. Then you never have to worry about anything.
Just get your scout.
Checkmate.
Just get your scalp tickets from Claude.
There you go.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
everybody. I think that's going to bring us to a close for the day. Did either one of you have anything you wanted to add, Dave? You?
No, I'm good. It was great
I'm good.
having Oscar and Kelsey on today. It was a lot
It's
of
fun.
fun.
Heck
A
yes,
pleasure.
it was.
Thank you,
It was
guys.
great
You're
Likewise.
welcome
having you
back
both.
anytime.
All right, thank you everyone for listening in and putting up with us. If you stuck around this long, and I still want to ask you, to like, follow, share, subscribe, leave us a comment, and
We will see you next time.